Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
This is Ed Cohen. I'm in San Diego, California, USA, and it's about 7:30 p.m. on May 24, 2021. And our special guest today is in Sri Lanka, and it's just about 8 a.m., May 25 there. Welcome, Sarrah, Sammoon. Hello.
Hi, Ed. How are you? My alarm also just went off saying it's 8 a.m. here.
8 a.m. Usually it's the time you get up, or what?
No, I'm an early riser.
Yeah, well, good. So I thank you for sending that information to me about your beautiful country and about your background. And I then looked at a map and saw where Sri Lanka is. So what's the weather there like? Is it sort of, so you're in Southern Hemisphere, right? So it's just going into winter now, fall?
So, well, we have warm weather throughout the year.
Okay.
So the today, this time it's the monsoon, so it's raining. But even with that, our weather drops to about, say, 24, 25, 26 degrees on a very windy time. That is especially in the Colombo area. But when it comes to May, which is our hottest time, April, May, it does go up to 30 degrees, and I'm talking Celsius here.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, but we also have Noor area, which is in the central province, which is a cold climate. When we say cold, we're looking at about 18 degrees to 16 degrees Celsius.
Now, is that because it's higher up?
It's higher up, and that's where we grow our teas. I'm sure you've heard of our famous black tea.
Absolutely, Salon.
That's right, Salon tea.
Yeah. Okay, great. So your specialty is immigration and all things connected with helping people get to know your country and doing business there and getting set up. And you're in the legal business. You're CEO of the Magellan Champlain. Have I said that correctly?
Is Magellan Champlain? Yes.
Yeah.
We do have when we get together in forums, it usually ends up saying, okay, champagne, but there's a story behind that.
Yeah, right. Okay, so your thing here that I've been reading about is all about freedom. So why don't you tell us about why this is such a hot button for you?
So in order to do that, if I can take a few minutes to go to the beginning of how I got into this, right? And how we came up with that, our purpose of this freedom is, I had just got back to Sri Lanka from the US. I was working in a law firm. It was in February 1994. So I was sitting in my father-in-law's porch one morning reading the newspaper, and I saw this article of a group of people, which included professionals in the article, educated professionals, had paid a large sum of money to get themselves smuggled out of Sri Lanka into a first world country. And the really sad thing is that they all died. And I remember thinking, there are professionals here and they had paid large sums of money according to the article. I was wondering why, didn't they have any legal compliant options to, if they wanted to move. They were looking for a better life. They were looking for freedom of movement. You have to remember Sri Lanka was also at that time, it was during the Civil War. So I was looking around and I had worked in an immigration law firm in Washington, DC, and I realized there was this gap in immigration services here where we could, advise people. So I called up my boss in the US and we actually started with US immigration, and then we went on to offer about 186 countries. But that whole thing was that where it started was people were looking for freedom of movement, right? And then fast forward to 2008. So at that point we were doing outbound services. But in 2008, I don't know if you remember the global financial crisis.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a shift. We saw a shift in movement from the first world countries into Asia and South Asia as well. So this was at the point where I realized that Sri Lanka was also, our war might end. And I remember in April 2009 thinking, all right, let's, I think there might be people who now want to move into Sri Lanka. So that's how I got into mobility in 2009, even though I'd been in business since 94. But all that time when I looked at what were we serving, what is our why, right? It was because people were looking for freedom of movement, freedom to choose. And even if it's corporates or professionals, whether it's companies, it was all based on this fact of freedom. And I was working with my strategic consultant, right? And we were trying to find our vision and mission, but it ended up being, we were more focused on our purpose. And, I was saying, every time we finish an assignment, whether it's immigration or a relocation, people celebrate, whether let's go out for dinner, let's have a drink together, or they'll come and give you a gift. So that's how the whole thing came about celebrating. And we realized that's our why. And so our purpose is actually celebrating freedom.
Well, thank you very much. So let's go to today. And what's the situation? Have you been vaccinated? Do you believe in that? Or
Yes.
What is COVID doing a job on your people or what?
So when the pandemic started, Sri Lanka actually was doing much better than most countries. And but right now, it's we're just going through the third wave, and we're in lockdown. We're going to be in lockdown till the 7th of June as well. At the moment, the vaccines are rolling out. We've had our AstraZenecas. We have Sinopharm, and we're getting the Sputnik in. It's very slow, but it's happening. I've been vaccinated, yes. I'm blessed, but it's going to take a little time. But you know what? We're a resilient island. We've been through a war. We've been through an East attack, if you've heard. So we're all, we're going to get through this one as well.
Yeah.
Just like you guys, yeah.
Yeah. What was the war about, and when did that end?
So that's a funny story because I know exactly when it ended, and the reason being, so the war was, we have in Sri Lanka, I mean, I don't want to go too much into detail because I'm not an expert of the war, but it was between, in Sri Lanka, we have Sinhalese, we also have Tamil, we have Moors, and Burghers. So the majority is Sinhalese, and then comes the Tamil people. And they've lived in Sri Lanka for, together for a long, long time. But it was a group of Tamil, a group led by a terrorist leader that was trying to get their, basically autonomy in their own region, to have their own country. So that was what it was. It was a guerrilla attack. So, a lot of us, by the time I moved here, it was at the height of it. So that ended in May 2009. And why I remember it so clearly is, So when I was looking at how to serve people coming into Sri Lanka, I was thinking, okay, this is not just about immigration, I mean, they're going to also want to know. And I myself have been is an expat because I've moved from Sharjah, UAE to London to US to Sri Lanka. So I used to help a lot of people when they're moving into Sri Lanka. So I was thinking, okay, is there a program that I could learn that I could bring into the business? And I was Googling, it was 2:00 in the morning in April. And I was thinking, the war is going to end really soon. So that's how I found the Worldwide ERC GMS program in Hong Kong. And I booked it that night and I was in Hong Kong in April 2009. And I remember getting up in a room to introduce myself and saying, there's like Sri Lanka, why are you here? Because we're the first, there was no local mobility firm representing Sri Lanka. It was mostly at that point handled by India. So I was the first Sri Lankan to come in. And I remember saying the war is going to end soon. And that's why I'm here, because I know Sri Lanka is going to be a hotspot. And the war ended on the 18th of May, 2009. And I got my GMS license end of April, 2009.
Good for you. That's great timing. A lot of energy. So you've helped Coca-Cola, you've helped a lot of companies, and it's just the same service all over the world, isn't it? Helping people be comfortable, getting them through the rigmarole, and getting house set up, right?
Yeah, so we do service RMCs as well as direct corporates. So yeah, Coca-Cola, McKinsey and Company, those are our direct corporates. Yeah, it is. It's the same service as most organizations, only little difference because we're a small island. We have about 30 to 35,000 expats altogether. We have some key multinationals though who do set up here, and it's one of the things I'd like to say. It is the same service. However, being a small island, we ourselves actually provide a very unique service because we value our network and our relationships. Not that others don't, but because it's a smaller community, it's much easier for us to, when they come in, to give them that network and relationships. That is the underlying thing with us, across board of all our services, is okay, it just helps people move in and adapt really easily when you meet the right people from the beginning, right?
Yes, of course, and being welcomed.
Yeah, we're known for our smile, the Sri Lankan hospitality smile. Nice. We have a joke. We say, in Sinhalese, we said "Never gilu not bang tune." I think it's in English as well. Even if the ship is sinking, we have a party, and that's in our culture.
That's nice. That's nice.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a timely announcement.
Hi, I'm Sergei Gorbatov.
I'm Angela Lane.
Together we are researchers, writers and practitioners in the field of human resources.
And we've also been multi-country, multi-assignment career expats.
We owe our professional development and growth to a very large extent to the international assignment opportunities that we have had.
But in a world where distributed work may become the norm, we also want to understand what will happen to the nature, duration and purpose of international assignments.
Together with our colleague, Julian Dalzell from the University of South Carolina, we're undertaking a study on the future of expatriation.
And we'd value your contribution. You can participate in this important study by completing a simple 10-minute questionnaire.
Access the questionnaire by typing in your browser tinyurl.com/expert study. That's tinyurl.com/expert study. You can also find the link here on ED's website next to this video.
Thank you for joining us in this study. In return for your contribution, we'll provide you with a copy of our research.
And of course, you'll be invited to an exclusive webinar hosted by Ed, where we will share our findings right here on Global Business News.
And so please go to tinyurl.com/expat study. Take the survey so that we can better understand the future of expatriation.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
So some of your specialty is business entry into India. Is that correct?
Into Sri Lanka, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Oh, that was really funny that you said that because in my first GMS conference in Hong Kong, I remember it was really tough room. They were so friendly, but everybody knew each other. And I was like, out of nowhere. And I was saying I was from Sri Lanka and somebody said, so that's part of India, right? It's like, no, it's not. It's a separate country altogether. But yes, so our main focus is immigration. And we have about 30% of our business is destination services, but we also do advisory. And like I said, our company is also part of a larger group of companies, which is in hospitality and luxury items as well. And this also, and we're part of lots of chambers of associations, and we work with government lobbying for private sector. So we have, like I said, a massive network. So because of this, I realized that we could help companies come in. So we work with partners as well on ground with corporate secretaries, tax attorneys, incorporators, but we manage it for them under MC Advisory, helping businesses come in, basically managing their move here. So I'll give you a quick example. There was a $40 billion revenue company that was moving into Sri Lanka, and they had one of the big fours representing them, and another tax attorney, another corporate secretary, and they moved in here, and I was handling the immigration part. And the whole point of moving into Sri Lanka was actually into a manufacturing sector and bringing in 30 odd assignees in here. But the way they had incorporated it, and according to our immigration law, they were only allowed one assignee, right? So I was on a call with about 28 experts from around the world, like telling them what went wrong, right? And these are like some of the huge companies. So this is what we do. So if we kind of manage everything so that, putting the pieces together, so it's much easier for them to communicate and project manage it. So that's the part we do when it comes to entry to Sri Lanka.
Yeah, so it's like the last mile, if you will. Yeah. Okay, so I read in your LinkedIn profile that you work in the courts to some extent.
We have attorneys who work in courts, so most of our work doesn't really require us to go to courts. But
oh, good.
Because immigration is basically with immigration divisions, and company secretarial work is with the registrar of companies. So we have a lot of work with the ministries because in Sri Lanka, especially when it comes to labor laws and bringing in assignees into the country, you need, like in the US, you get the labor certification, but it's one department. But here you go to the different ministries. So.
Oh, I see.
There we are.
Yeah.
That's our Department of Immigration, yes.
All right. Well, it's pretty complete. Well, congratulations on setting all this up. I could see why you're most trusted, and it's good to know.
This is the actual Department of Immigration. This is our government website. Yeah, at the moment our border is closed, except we can get special permission for people, assignees returning or coming in as investors.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about yourself and how you decided to be in business. And then also, I want to go back to what you just said about being part of a larger group, including jewelry, sapphires, and some other hospitality things. So please inform us.
So So my husband, that's my husband's business. So that's why I moved here. So my family lives in the US, but my husband came to the US. He looked around. He's a sapphire dealer, and sapphire, the best sapphires come from Sri Lanka. Like even on Lady Diana's ring, that's a Sri Lankan blue sapphire.
I didn't know.
We're a source country, right? So we have sapphires here, spinels, garnets. So we're colored stones. It's a natural resource here. So he moved there, and I was like, I need to be back at the source, which is why I moved to Sri Lanka to be with him. We have a Sapphire Capital Group, that's our umbrella. And under that, the main business is a 5-generation gem business, which is the sapphire cutters. I'm also a director there, but just to do a little PR work on and off. I mean, as of late, I've just had no time. So I just enjoy the benefits of being part of it, getting jewelry. That's an orange sapphire, by the way. I don't know if you can see it. Other than that, we also, we have a part of Cantaloupe Hotels. It's a few properties down. At the moment, it's closed because of the situation, but we're just building a new property, 2 properties actually. One is under Cantaloupe, another one under Canela Villas, down south where our beaches are. So those will be ready as well. So that's the hospitality. And other than that, we also have the SEG Advisory, which is into large tenders, different kinds of businesses and tenders. So yeah, and Magellan Champlain is one of the companies sitting under that, which I manage.
Yeah. Okay. So your relationships with everybody is good for sure, but China, that's like a giant on your doorstep.
Yeah, we love China. We get along very well with China. China has been a friend to us for a long time. And, it was really interesting because I grew up in Europe. I grew up in London, between London and, in the West, right? Whereas my husband actually grew up in Hong Kong and then moved to Sri Lanka. And like I said, he's a 5-generation business. And for the last 2 generations have been in Hong Kong and Sri Lanka. So they were very, my father-in-law speaks Mandarin, right? So when we do business, I'm the one who's very comfortable with the West, right? I mean, because that's how I grew up. And, he's the one who had the entire Chinese connection and the relationships. And so he would tell us, he'd go very often to China, and he'd tell me and my daughter, we have she's a teenager now, like to come visit. And we were like, no, we go to Europe, let's go to Venice, let's go to Paris, blah, blah, blah. And so actually 3 years ago, he took us for the first time. And I was just blown away. I was blown away. We went between Guangzhou to Shanghai to several cities, and people were just so nice. So we actually have a partner office now in Shanghai. It was just amazing, their innovation, their thinking, the culture. And because obviously Amel had the relationships, they're very deep in relationship. Like, it's not, if they're your friend, they're your friend. And we're going to have a big transformation in the next few years, because the 2 ports, the port, Hambantota, the down south port city, has also been leased to China. And in in partnership with China, we've building the port city in Colombo, which is reclaimed land, and it's going to be the new South Asian Financial Tourist Cultural Center. It will be ready in 2041. It's being built right now. So yeah, so Sri Lanka is going to transform. And yes, and China is our friend. Yes.
So, are there certain tax advantages for companies to consider Sri Lanka?
So the port city is a new thing, and that is just in the, it's being, they're coming up with all the incentives. But in Sri Lanka, yes, we have a board of investment in Sri Lanka, which provides you tax benefits. My tax attorney is the one who knows all the details, but there is also tax-free projects that you can apply for and you can negotiate. We also have free trade zones as well. We're one of the largest manufacturers of garments here in Sri Lanka. We have, companies like Nike and all having their, shoes, parts of shoes, lingerie, so many things being manufactured here, clothes, Victoria's Secret, just to name a few that I'm aware of. We also are the third largest producer of rubber. So we have that as well. So such large projects, there's lots of tax benefits that come in. For smaller investors, small, medium investors, they can negotiate. So if you bring in a minimum value of $250,000 US in, you can then come under the board of investment, which is a different division altogether. So this is our export development board. So that is the organization part of the government that actually handles all the exports, even gemstones. So yes, there is tax benefits, and you can even bring in assignees into the country. So Sri Lanka being a small country, that's important. You need to justify, just like the labor cert, like I said in the US, are you bringing in talent that is needed? One of the benefits with BOI companies, the Board of Investment companies, when you come under that, is you're also assigned like a blanket petition. Like, in the US on the L1, you get a blanket petition, you can bring in assignees. So similarly as well.
Yes,
well,
this is very helpful. Thank you very much. Great. And what questions do you have of me?
Ed, for one thing, when I was actually, so I met you, like I said, I was telling you, I remember your humor. We were walking, I can't remember whether it was Chicago, Seattle, or DC. Maybe I think I might have met you, but I just remember this one conversation because, you were just, I met you and you said something and I was like, I just cracked up and I was like, your humor was amazing. But what I didn't know, and in preparation for this interview, I was just, looking at some of your videos, is I didn't know that you've been in this business for so long, and that
look at
worldwide
white hair.
No, in a good way. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I knew, because I would have just sat there with you, had a coffee and learned so much. Because like I said, in 2009, when I entered the mobility business, I was such a newbie, and I had to really understand. I was watching your interview with Sarrah from Resettle, and same thing, terms and things like that I had to learn. I had to ask the companies that I was actually handling, okay, could you go take through the abbreviations for me? But yeah, so I didn't know even Worldwide ERC was something, formation of something that you had started before.
They were always around, but in a different form. And what I did is just brought the idea into LA and pulled people together, apparently for the first time in that market. And that was part of my magazine enterprise, where we published a guidebook, which I call California Bound Professional Relocation Guide. And it was a very big hit, used by all of the companies needing to recruit talent into Southern California, starting in 1980. And we did that all through the 80s into early 90s. And then the internet came and it got difficult. But anyway, it was a very big success. And we did a number of projects with LA Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Corp. And many different businesses, defense contractors, Hollywood studios, as well as apparel companies and others.
And so the mobility business, so you did the mobility part of it, or you did the PR part of it? I got a little confused over there.
Both.
Both, okay.
It's simultaneous.
And have you been to Sri Lanka is my other question.
No, but I want to go.
Oh, you have to come. I mean, even now, like once the border opens, so they took away, are you fully vaccinated?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So then, you can just come in and you don't have to go through the whole quarantine thing once the border opens again.
Yeah, we got the Moderna 2 shots back in February.
You have to come. I mean, we're not just about the beaches. Like I said, we have the tea estates. We have, our leopards. We have whitewater rafting. We have mining. You can actually go see sapphires underground, how it comes out. Yeah, so we have loads of stuff here. And it's beautiful weather as well.
I will, I'm going to look into that. And thank you so much. It's been a delight speaking with you. And we will put this together and get it ready in the next day or two and send you the link.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed. And it's really nice talking. And like I said, I wish I knew the amount of experience you had when I did meet you and catch you over a coffee, but I will do that at the next forum when I meet you.
Yeah, whenever that is. I'm not sure it'll be this year, but maybe soon.
No.
Yeah. So let's do this. Without the Zoom, you and I would never have this opportunity.
No. And those are there's, I have to be conscious of, the people that are suffering. But it's just been my motto. I always look at the bright side of things. And we went actually digital in 2018 so that we get freedom of movement. So we're not hypocritical and say people come to office 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. physical and then say celebrate freedom. So for us, it was just a, continuation of it. But people have had time to talk to us on Zoom. So people I couldn't access before.
I know.
So it's been really amazing.
It's the same. Well, thank you very much. This has been my pleasure. And thanks for being on Global TV. And
thank you for inviting me.
Please come back and do it again soon.
Sure. Take care. Bye, guys.
Have a good day.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.